Steve, David, John Shanks. Thank you all very much for your patience. I want to thank our friend Chris Daughtry for singing that song better than I did.
Really? He really did.
Friendship. Once upon a time, not so long ago, cop a couple of our own words. I was just another kid in Jersey strumming a broomstick to the soundtrack of the 70s. And I spent many an afternoon fantasizing that I was going to be Mick Jagger for some Mercury premiere. I wanted to be a rock and roll star. Why not? In these days, rock and roll stars are a pretty enviable position. Our president is referred to as a rock and roll star. You don't hear it often that no one makes references to rock and roll stars as one of the president, except for Bono, of course.
I know.
No, but as I thought about it, I said, hey, rock and roll stars are pretty good. You make a lot of money, you get to sleep, you like, you dress as funky as you please. You know, if you were lucky, you did something special. So earth-shattering. It was like, in fact, having all the treasures of the world wrapped up in a fistful of dreams and then some. Music was going to be something I could learn from and love, and that's the music that I was going to always be about. By 16, I was it. I'd seen the light. I was drawn to it. There was no need for a guidance counselor, no need for a gypsy to tell me what the future held. There was no need for a discussion. I had no test to take and no office to apply to. The reason I say this is because while I was learning the essentials of making a performer, I realized very early in my career, in fact by the time I was 18, that the difference between the boys playing in the bar and the men that I was emulating was the pen.
Wow.
There were bands around New Jersey in the early 80s that could draw 500,000 people. These guys had everything. In fact, the guys that I coached Alex Such from, our original bass player, three was called Fam's album. When I tell you that they did Queen better than Queen, they played better than Queen, they looked the part, they sang the parts, they played the parts. The key element that was missing was they didn't know how to write a song. So, even by the time I was in high school, I was in a cover band, emulating the heroes, learning the chops. But by the spring of 1980, I was playing in a club in Asbury called the Fast Lane. And we were the opening act, and as you can imagine, it was a young cover band. We're opening for another band who, in fact, were emulating a much more famous band from Asbury Park, if you get my drift. Even at 18, when the guy came in, he says, you know, Johnny, you're pretty good. But you should get John Bang. And I thought to myself, oh, Jesus Christ, he's filling up these clubs, he's pretending to be something that he's not. I got to get out of my own band right now. I quit my own cover band. I went and joined somebody else's band as lead singer in an original band. I knew I had to learn how to write and quick. Time was running out for me. I was 18 years old. I think it was that day that I realized that the definition of rock and roll star came only after many years of hard work learning how to write. Now, there are many kinds of writers. There are those who write with apparent ease, and then there are those who torture themselves with every line. Once, Sir Paul McCartney told me that the Beatles would get together and they would write those gems in a day, almost as if it was an appointment. They'd go out at night separately, they'd gather different experiences, and then they'd bring it back to the band in the morning. Of course, those songs changed the world. I once read that it took Leonard Cohen 5 years to complete Hallelujah. In my opinion, it was worth every minute of it. Somewhere in between. And you all have your own way to write too, yet I believe we do have one thing in common. We all love it. Writing for me is my favorite part of the business. I've always loved banging out with a couple of guitars and scribbling down on a notebook. Because to me there was nothing more rewarding than hearing it in your head. And of course, when you heard it in your head and you saw it on a piece of paper, you couldn't wait to get into the studio and record it with the guys just to see if it had legs. Once it had legs, and you believed in it, you just wanted to share it with anybody and everybody who was out there ready to listen to it. I'm humbled to be in the company of such respected writers here tonight, because when you have that song, you know, like the one that becomes a part of people's lives, it's nothing short of magic, and I believe it's the closest thing to immortality that we'll ever know. I I'd like to leave you with this thought as I congratulate my friend and my collaborator, Richie Sambora. From the day we first got together to explore this art form, we clicked. Not only are you a truly gifted player and a singer, but one hell of a writer. I think we've written a couple songs now that I'm proud to say have made a mark, and we still have the desire that we had when we were 18-year-old kids. In fact, we were in the studio till 3 o'clock today, just pounding out another record. Can't help it. So, I do believe that all of our best is yet to come. The business is changing on us. One thing they can't take away is the song. With that, I'll leave you. God bless you. Good night.